To call this meeting to order, please. Roll call, Mr. Brennan.
Notice of this meeting has been forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Beacon, Tap Into Barnegat, and placed in the foyer of each Barnegat Township school in the Barnegat Township municipal building, and has been filed with the Barnegat Township Municipal Clerk in conjunction with the Open Public Meetings Act. I'll conduct a roll call. Ms. Bivens?
Here.
Ms. Cherney? Ms. Contananza?
Here.
Mr. Fedorzik? Here. Mr. Hickey? Mr. Quelch? Mr. Zawicki?
Here.
Mr. Sherman? And Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, and committee of the whole is open.
Okay. So we're going to start with committee of the whole discussion as normal. First committee is Finance, B&G, HST. We reviewed routine business, including payroll, bills list, and special ed placements. Reviewed the status on open district facility improvement projects, both internal and external, so the construction projects. The Dunphy pre-K bathroom facilities plan and the waiver for the rooms that we won't get done this year was reviewed. Reviewed open technology projects and what PIPL did for us over the course of the year. Discussed school lunch rates with Chartwells. We'll be reviewing approving the contract tonight with a 1% increase to student lunch cost. The board will be voting on approving uniforms for the middle school, fitness equipment for the high school gym, emergency notification system upgrades using grant money. Annual appointments were covered and we'll be voting on tonight. And then transportation improvement plans and strategies were discussed. Does anybody have any comments or discussion for Finance, B&G, HST? No? Mr. Swicki?
Thank you, Mr. President. Athletics met on May 17th, and we discussed re-signing the new coaches for the fall and securing fall facilities. We also got a tour of the weight room and reviewed the condition of the weight room, and we are going to be looking to move forward with purchasing new equipment, weights, free weights, treadmills, everything for the weight room, and decommissioning most of the stuff because it's really beat up and deteriorated and not safe to work on. We also spoke with about the color switch for Brackman, making it Barnegat, going with the theme of Barnegat 1, changing them to black to orange. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Fedorzik, will you be covering education? Nope. Okay. All right, I'll discuss Edwards Committee. We'll come back to education. So Edwards, we were planning for last night's meeting. Last night's meeting didn't have the same level of attendance that we were hoping for. Wanted to put the ideas out there about what happened with the Edwards School over the years, what the cost will be, and discuss what the options were. So we did have a few members of the community speak up and discuss it, and that will be ongoing and further news on plans to come in the future. Mr. Fedorzik, for education.
Sorry about that.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Mr. President. So the Education Committee met on May 18th. Several items were spoken about. One to note was student services update and a compensatory education. There's approximately 700 students with IEPs, and what the compensatory education is designed to do is for students to work on any IEPs, goals, and objectives that may not have been mastered. It's the idea behind the comp ed this year is to close any learning gaps for school year 2020-21. There's going to be a parent meeting, and the idea behind that is to make a collective effort to determine how much comp time students are owed. So, if you're a parent who feels that you are owed some time, reach out to Mr. Gunnarsson or whoever it is in your staff and your direct line of communication to be able to get that worked out and scheduled. We spoke about community-based instruction programs and structured learning experiences, CBI and SLE, and how they are going to be implemented. Community-based instruction programs are for special ed students to gain life experiences. For example, a student would visit something like Planet Fitness as if they were the customer. They would use the facilities, they would walk on the treadmill, lift the weights, and kind of get an idea of what the, how to function in an environment like that. And the structured learning experience is just the opposite, where you are the employee. You can get out in town, whatever the program is that they're working with, and get some real life work experience. We discussed the district reopening plan, which I know will be discussed a little bit later on. New business for us, the big topic of the month was the new math series that was coming into play that we discussed. There were two options presented to the board, iReady and Into Math. First, I want to thank Dr. Latwis, Mr. Barbieri, Ms. Smith, and Ms. Santola for kind of bending a little bit with the committee up here. It's kind of difficult when you're given a decision to make of something of such magnitude that's going to expand time. Like I believe it's a 5-year window that we're going to implement whatever new program it is. We did have the opportunity early in May to go visit with Manchester Elementary School, as well as do an online meeting with Toms River School District, who currently have the iReady series in play. It was very beneficial for somebody who is not an educator. I think it was myself, Ms. Cherney, Mr. O'Brien attended in person. Mr. Quelch was on, dealt with the online portion of it, but it was very informative. And I look forward to this program coming in. I think we were pretty comfortable with the presentation given by Manchester, specifically because we got to see that in play. Some of the items that we're going to look forward to that was really appealing about it. One was the professional development that is offered for the faculty, which was a big issue for the committee. Is how is the faculty, how are the teachers going to be able to implement this? Are they going to be comfortable with it? Manchester really spoke highly of the professional development program. And like I said, it was one of the big highlights. There's stuff there for parental learning as well from an online status. And I know that was one of the issues that I had from the current series that we have is my kids are coming home and I'm lost. I can't teach them, but there are those things in place to help facilitate it. So that'll be up for vote for this evening. The other thing that we spoke about was just for the summer work, which we'll be discussing again in June as far as curriculum writing, professional development academy, what the data coaches and master teachers will be doing, as well as focus groups and other miscellaneous summer projects. Our next meeting is on June 8th, and that's what I have.
Thank you, Mr. Porras. Ms. Contaneza, would you like to speak on governance?
Hi. I just want to say one word about education. I just want to thank Dr. Latwis and your administrators for the iReady math, of all the work that you guys did, and our board that attended the iReady in the other schools. And I think you did a thorough job, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Governance Committee met on May 19th. As you can see on the agenda, we have the first motion is second readings. So the board did review everything last month, that now it's on for second readings. Motion 2 is approving the following policies. The committee reviewed the 7,000 series. So that's up for first reading tonight. And our third motion is to approve a job description. We're changing the transportation coordinator to title to supervisor, which is in line with the certification. And that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you. And personnel, I took part in the personnel committee meeting. We had standard normal business of new hires, lateral moves, and resignations. We are looking to staff the extended school year for summer school, and applying some people to help out there. There was counseling work, teachers, bus drivers, et cetera, all part of it. So there was a retirement for Mr. McIver, who's a teacher at Barnegat High School. So that's effective June 19th. So thank you, Mr. McIver. That was it for personnel. Does anybody have any questions or comments or committee of the whole? Okay. I'd like to have a motion to adjourn committee of the whole then, please.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney? Yes. Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
All right. Committee of the whole is adjourned at 5:46.
Okay. Okay, we'll move immediately to call to order the regular meeting for the Barnegat Board of Education.
All right. The notice of this meeting has been forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Beacon, Tap Into Barnegat, and placed in the foyer of each Barnegat Township school in the Barnegat Township Municipal Building, and has been filed with the Barnegat Township Municipal Clerk in conjunction with the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call. Ms. Bivens? Here. Ms. Cherney?
Here.
Ms. Contanza?
Here.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Here.
Mr. Hickey? Mr. Quelch? Mr. Zawicki?
Here.
Mr. Sherman? Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
All right, you have a quorum, and we're in regular session at 5:47.
Okay, everybody please rise for a flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Please have a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens? Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
All right, we have an agenda.
Okay, can I also have a motion for approval of minutes from the April 27th meeting, executive and regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
All right, motion's carried.
Okay. Now I'd like to welcome Ms. Kara Smith to act as a student representative this evening.
Hello. Last week, Barnegat High School successfully held their annual scholarship ceremony, granting almost $140,000 in scholarships to 85 of our graduating seniors. Junior prom took place on Saturday, May 8th, on the BHS grounds under the 10th, and the senior prom will be held this Thursday. On May the 4th, the Honor Society ceremony took place to honor the inductees of BHS's 6 honor societies up on the turf. And this weekend, the Bengal Theater Company finished their production of Into the Woods. Congrats to all those who worked so hard to put the show together. Student government recently just announced the winners of the class and executive elections. Congratulations to Maya Faulds on being elected executive president. And finally, as we move into the end of the year, students are preparing for finals week and wrapping up AP testing. In addition, the class of 2021 is preparing for graduation.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next, I'd like to hear from Barnegat Education Association Liaison. Is Ms. Mayo online?
I think she was going to come in person,
Okay.
but I'm guessing she thought committee as whole was going to go a little longer.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe we want to circle back to her
Yeah.
if we have the opportunity.
Yep, we can come back. So next we can go into your remarks, please.
Good evening. So we're going to go a little bit out of order here. Normally, we would do the upstanders first, but I'm going to give Chief Germain a couple minutes to try to get over here. We went through committee as a whole a little bit faster than we normally do. So first, I'd like to invite up Christina Smith to honor the seal of biliteracy for student recognition.
Good evening. The seal of biliteracy is given to students who demonstrate proficiency in 2 or more languages. Students must score an intermediate mid or advanced in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. This is our 4th year participating in the seal of biliteracy. I wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate our world language teachers who have spent numerous hours inspiring and preparing our students for this testing. This year we had 11 seniors and 8 juniors meet the needed requirements in reading, writing, listening, and speaking for Spanish, French, and Chinese. Tonight, I would like to recognize all 19 students on their success. Will the following students please come to the front for your certificates? Brian Almendarez Espinoza. Camila Vega Silva. Jesus Jaspo Zapian. Juliana Padilla. Derek Gonzalez Villafane. Alexis Osborne. Kelly Rodriguez. James Corliss. Madison Myers. Kira Smith. Fernando Montilla. Juniors, Shirley Zhang. Might I add that Shirley is trilingual in 3 different languages. Nicole Chaveria. Adriana Katmere. Juliana Canizaro. Isabella Panikowski. Isabel Guerrero. Patria Moreno. And lastly, Daniel Orr. Again, congratulations to our students and our teachers. I feel extremely honored to be your supervisor.
Next, I will invite Mary Camerata to do the Optimist Club Essay Contest winners.
Good evening. My name is Mary Camerata. I'm the supervisor of English Language Arts, Social Studies, and Fine and Performing Arts. And it's my distinct privilege to honor several deserving students and teachers this evening. So the theme for all of my presentations is perseverance. It would be so easy to sit back and blame the pandemic for any lack of success. And yet these students and faculty members really excelled this year. So for the Optimist Club essay winners, oh, I'm sorry with the feedback. The Optimist Club runs an essay contest every year, and this year's topic was reaching your dreams by choosing optimism. So with me tonight are Optimist President Ann Kelleher and the contest runner Suzanne Speranza. I'm not sure if they made it quite yet. Oh yes, hooray, come on down. We've communicated mostly via email, so I wasn't sure, but you can come with me, please. Yes, wonderful. Okay, that was a great surprise. So this was both my first year as well as Suzanne's first year running the contest, and her dedication was unmatched. So I wanted to say thank you for that. The local chapter works with the Barnegat school system to encourage optimism in the students in their daily lives and an opportunity to make it a way of life. So will the winners please come up as their name is called? For third place, Brian Corliss. For second, we have Jenna Marcy. And in first place, Shannon Harrington.
To keep the party going, I'd like to ask Mary Camerata to stay at the microphone to present our outstanding achievement at the 2021 Ocean County Teen Arts Festival.
Thank you, Dr. Latwis. I would like to invite the following students to the stage to honor them. They were selected as Outstanding Achievement at the 2021 Ocean County Teen Arts Festival. They were also chosen to continue on to the New Jersey State Teen Arts Festival. So I asked Kelly West to please put the presentation up there so we could actually view their artwork. So our first winner is Ariana Ford for her piece, Strength. Our second place, oh geez, sorry. Other 2D artist is Kayla Moore, Girl Sitting, which will be presented up on the screen as well. And then our 3D artist is Madison Nieves, Flower on Wood. So, and I don't know if any of them are... Okay. We'll save it.
Next, I'll invite Mary Camerata back up to the microphone to discuss the best community for music education.
So lastly, I'd like to ask Mrs. Regina Santola to join me. And tonight we are going to be honoring our music teachers. They include Mrs. Jennifer Brennan, Mrs. Casey Kuntz, Mr. Todd Gagnon, Mrs. Alicia Palmieri, Mr. Louis Salonia, Mr. Eric Wald, Mrs. Denise Benz, Mr. Daniel McGrath, Mrs. Natalie Altanji, and Mr. Anthony Arecchio. So please, if you would all come up to be recognized. That was not. I know. It happened. Okay. I know. You're a champion. Thank you. Okay. So this is now for the second year in a row, the district was selected as a best community for music education by the National Association of Musical Merchants. And I cannot thank these educators enough for their dedication and pride in all that they do. So just this past weekend, as I watched the play, 4 Donahue students approached the pit and Ms. Kuntz showed them the flute and the piccolo. And it was just so great to see them actually like engaging. And you didn't even probably know I was creepily watching it, right? But there are so many schools in the state of New Jersey that have yet to allow their students to sing or play instruments. And Mrs. Benz actually said in our department meeting that it was their responsibility to give the students these opportunities, especially after being provided the PPE to be successful. So I wanted to say thank you to the Board of Education and Dr. Latwis for your dedication to music. So thank you, music teachers.
Next up, we will do the upstanders. Is Mrs. Purpurai available to come to the microphone? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Barnegat is a place where we believe in a positive school climate, family togetherness, and community involvement. And it is the marriage of these three principles that define the Upstander program. To unite Barnegat as a district, we're recognizing students aligned with our Bengals Pride acronym. So for May, our students have exemplified integrity for the letter I in Pride. To reward them, we're granting them with a gift certificate for a family meal from a local restaurant. And tonight's gift certificates are for Vinny's Pizzeria to reinforce the idea of a family meal and family togetherness. So I'm honored tonight to recognize 6 upstanding individuals, 1 per building, for their commitment to making Barnegat a better place. So when you hear your name, please join Board President Mr. O'Brien and Superintendent Dr. Brian Latwis in celebrating you by receiving your plaque and your gift certificate to Vinny's. First, I recognize Senior at BHS, Haley Dangler. Haley is someone that identifies a student who exemplifies integrity. She has been lending a non-judgmental ear to a friend that needed encouragement, and she has also helped in organizing local food drives to provide for those in need. And she's worked with other students around the school in handing out our treats to spread appreciation and kindness. She's intelligent and motivated, and her hard work is impressive, and it will serve her well in the future. Her moral value of integrity goes above and beyond, and she deserves to be celebrated. Now, I recognize Brackman 7th grader, Cameron Capro. Cameron is a compassionate, kind, and inclusive person. He is the kind of student who does what is right when no one is looking, no matter what, without exception. Although he's fiercely competitive, he's also fair and he's honest in his competition. He is considerate, he is thoughtful, and he always says thank you when he leaves class. He's the epitome of integrity. Next, I will recognize 6th grader at Horbelt, Olivia Marchluski. Olivia exemplifies the trait of integrity by always trying to do the right thing regardless of circumstances. She works hard at maintaining her grades and extracurricular activities. She is a dedicated student who actively participates in her classroom. She is very sweet, and she consistently strives to portray what it means to be a Horbelt student. Next, we recognize 4th grader at Joseph T. Donahue School, Allie King. Allie is honest and has strong principles. She reminds us of an old soul. Her kindness and patience is shown daily, as she is always willing to help others when needed. Allie volunteers to sit next to students who require a strong role model, giving up maybe sitting next to a friend, which certainly shows integrity. Her positive qualities often inspire others at the Donahue School, and she's a wonderful example. We're so proud of her. Next, we recognize kindergartner at Collins, Amelia Speidel. Amelia is the perfect candidate for the Upstander Integrity Award. She is the student who is always doing the right thing, whether someone's watching or not. She always listens to and follows directions, and she completes her assignments. She is kind and considerate to all of her classmates and respectful to both her peers and adults. Amelia will include anyone that seems left out and will cheer up anyone who needs a smile. Importantly, Amelia is a student that will always tell the truth, no matter what the outcome is, and she totally exemplifies and models integrity. And last, we recognize our pre-K student, Regan Mulvaney. Regan strives to do the right thing all of the time. She admits when she messes up, but she doesn't get upset. She just fixes it. She also helps guide others to do the same. She is the first one to lend a helping hand to all the other students and all of our teachers. She is genuinely the kindest child to all. We're so proud to have her in our Dumpy family. Congratulations to all of our upstanding students. Have a good evening.
Yep, 1 second. Couple more highlights before I turn it back over to President O'Brien. First is when you came in, I hope you grabbed one of these highlight sheets for the month. Covers a few highlights from around the district that happened over the month of May. One of those highlights that did not make this because it did not make it at the time of press was congratulating Kira Smith on being this week's WOVN High School Student of the Week, which really exemplifies all of your amazing achievements in academics as well as athletics. And we just learned that you're going to pick up a hobby in singing, you said, right? That was the last one that you have to check off before? No? Okay. Congratulations, that's quite the honor. And then last but not least, we're going to transition into superintendent remarks. And I just have a statement that I'd like to read on behalf of the Board of Education and the district administration regarding a letter that we will be sending to Governor Murphy in the morning. The prepared statement is, we know this has been a difficult year full of changes for students and staff in the Barnegat Township School District. We have come so far where we were a year ago and have made great strides in getting closer to normal when it feels safe, when it has been safe to do so. Barnegat was one of the first school districts in the county to bring students back into the classrooms for 5 days a week in November. In April, we took another important step by safely transitioning from half days to full days. We've taken steps to protect our teachers and staff by making the vaccine available for those who want it, prior to returning to full day instruction. Our goal to open Barnegat schools full-time for in-person instruction required enormous teamwork, and we appreciate the incredible support of the staff, parents, and students along the way. As the number of vaccinated individuals increases and the number of cases decreases here in Barnegat and Ocean County, we continue to move in the right direction. According to the Ocean County Department of Health, only 21 new cases have been recorded in Barnegat in the past 2 weeks. While we realize the situation is fluid, we again are ready to continue steps to get us back closer to normal. As of now, Governor Murphy's executive order, as well as the recommendation by the CDC on masks, requires masks in schools to, on masks requires those in schools to continue wearing masks. As always, our district is operating in compliance with all state mandates. However, we believe that we are at a point when the state policy regarding students and staff wearing masks at school, both indoors and outdoors, could be reasonably reevaluated. In Barnegat, we support a consideration for masks to be optional in schools, as long as data continues to trend in the right direction. We base our position on the latest local and federal data, as well as the proactive steps we've taken as a district to increase vaccination rates in our school community. The Board of Education, myself, and district leadership plan to request Governor Murphy to review his policy and mandate that requires masks in schools. We believe we can safely take the next big step in getting back to normal. Until there is any change, we must make it clear that the Executive Order 175, which requires students, staff, and visitors to wear face coverings in school, is still in place. While we are appealing to Governor Murphy to reconsider, we cannot make our own rules here regardless of which side of the mask debate you are on. We always will speak in what we believe is in Barnegat students' best interest while continuing to follow state regulations. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'd like to circle back to Barnegat Education Association Liaison, Ms. Sue Maya. Green light on.
Causing so many problems tonight, sorry. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien, Dr. Latwis, Board of Ed. Good evening, everybody. Last night at the Barnegat Inspire Awards, our President Chip Junker presented two of our former teachers with the Hall of Fame Award. Sue Sellerall, who is my son's teacher, absolutely love, and Maggie F. Tanis, who I was a colleague with, were each awarded with this prestigious award. We want to thank you so much for supporting this because it really is a great award ceremony. So thank you so much, Dr. Latwis and Mr. O'Brien and Board of Ed. Thank you.
Thank you. For my comments, I'd like to continue on with what Ms. Mayo was discussing. I've been, in the past couple of weeks, able to participate in the scholarship awards and also the Inspire Awards yesterday. And those really made me feel great about what we do as a board and what we do as a district. And those events, they were wonderful. And I really enjoyed seeing our students and staff taken care of and recognized. I'd also like to talk tonight about transportation. I know that a lot of people have been suffering through transportation this year because of many different factors, but I want you to know that we do have major improvements coming. We've engaged with a third party to run the students for sports and other outside of district activities, which freed up some of our buses and drivers. The kids are really excited. They get to ride in style and they have a bathroom, so you've probably seen pictures if you have any kids on there. Tonight, we'll be voting to increase on the substitute driver pay to get us up to par with our neighbors. We've really been suffering with a lack of substitute drivers, and now I think that with our pay being on track, we should be able to recruit more efficiently. We're looking at offering signing bonuses, implementing an employee referral program, and paid training programs where drivers can earn their CDL, get some on-the-job training. And unfortunately, like many other industries, the population of CDL drivers is aging out. And the cost requirements for becoming a driver are prohibitive. So we'll be able to offer an opportunity for income and to help those going through that training process. And all these things will require a commitment to Barnegat. So we're going to make a commitment to the drivers. We just ask that they make a commitment to us. And I think that'll really work to get our transportation program back on track. There is a national shortage of bus drivers. Again, with the population of drivers aging out and the financial impact it takes to become a driver. But it can be a great career for many of our residents. And if you know anybody that wants to be a bus driver, please have them contact the board offices. We are also looking at finalizing some long-term improvements, which you'll see in the future. And those are different leadership and training and career opportunities and some discussions around bus driver compensation. As discussed earlier a little bit, we had an Edwards School special meeting last night. We didn't have quite the turnout that we would have hoped for when we were looking at spending $20-some million, but we want to get some feedback from the community. So, you know, these meetings are your opportunities to speak up on behalf of the Edwards School. If you feel passionately about it, please let us know what you think you'd like it to become. And there will be more to come on the Edwards School in the future. As also discussed, we are going to be implementing a new math program. We're voting on it tonight. It's a K-8 math series. It's a much more full-form math series than we've had in the past. And as Mr. Fedorczyk said, we visited some other districts that are using this math series. We had some presentation from the service providers. And I think that we all walked away with a better understanding of how, you know, how these decisions are made and how we can help improve our district. So we're looking forward to that coming to fruition and improving our scores. Okay. Next, I'd like to have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss some personal matters, please. Personnel matters.
Okay. Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Constanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Brien.
Yes,
All right, we're in executive at 6:20.
we will be back shortly, folks.
Cherney. Do it again. Ms. Bivens.
Yes.
Ms. Contanza.
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik.
Yes.
Mr. Quelch.
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki.
Yes.
And Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned at 8:15. Executive session.
Would anybody like to have a motion on any new business? Would you like to have a motion on any new business?
So moved?
No.
Motion?
Is there any motion on new business?
No.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. I'd like to have a motion then to move into public session.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens.
Oh, yes.
Public session, yep. Ms. Cherney? Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
All right, we're in public session.
Okay. Members of the audience, if you'd come up and please state your name and your address. Please. No, he did not.
And I said, much. Well, now I can tell you just what's going on. Just this! My name is Mark Stephen Ford, aspiring voice actor and student. A student that, like many, has lost the future he desired. With the advent of school's lockdown, I lost everything. Unlike most students, I don't have my contact. I couldn't keep in touch. Thus, I lost but all the friends I spent over half a decade making gone. These students were able to keep their friends' numbers contingent and hang out and feel lucky. Thankful more than ever happened. My highly supportive bid for class president. Something I spent the entire year preparing for was stop its tracks and frightened animal. My education was crippled. I never formed a bond with my teachers, nor my classmates. And lessons that were simple and easy in class are tough and tedious at home. My mental state, like many students, corrupt, twisted. The combined loss of my friends and my parents waking up not long after going into depression, anger, and worldly conjured up and cheated me out of a happy childhood! My paranoia issue developed into full-on schizophrenia. I was awakened, terrified, and whispering at the ghosts that floated around me, gazing and moaning at me with black, ghastly eyes. I know that these are hallucinations, but they looked and felt completely real. No medicine helped me. Over a week of nightly torture, culminating in the first painful epileptic seizure I suffered when I was academic. Escorted to the hospital, I had apathy and foolishness from the doctors and nurses approaching the boy named death in front of them without urgency or care, letting me drown in my fears. My refusal to go to sleep, I believed that my slumber could be my last. Sincerely thought I would die in my sleep if I did. For hours on end during these nights of horror and anguish, I considered suicide multiple times, just to let these hallucinations and sleep problems end. I begged my mother and sister to kill me, claiming it was the only cure left. I am certainly not the only young boy or girl in the suffering. Hundreds of young Americans live in agony under the proof of fear-mongering and terrorism that they create. That happy childhood we still had stolen away from them without remorse. Perhaps you should think more about how we feel as much as you do how you. And you might be thinking, come on, wear a mask. Wrong. I communicate by relying on the expressions and emotions of others. What is their body, their eyes, their tones saying about me and my words? These masks make these expressions unmovable. Communication is far more difficult. It's not even impossible. I can't form a bond with people if I can't see their face and how they feel. I can't connect with anyone. And these masks are not helpful. They're not only dehumanizing, hindrance, exhaustion, heat stroke, respiratory symptoms. All these things are now far deadlier and more common for students during their school day. Falling ill not because of some crazy old virus, but because of the very device you I know I've suffered from this already, even my cousin. The monster's entire time should be ashamed of himself for forcing this cruel and sickening mandate. And the worst part of this is that it is the very antithesis of the American way. Everything that we've been taught to believe is thrown away like rotten meat. In the past, we fought and triumphed over dictators, terrorists, and tyrants, all in the name of preserving liberty. And now we bow before tyrants and terrorists, not an opposing nation, but within our very government, in the name of the sad, pitiful existence you call safety! And you may be asking, and it's time I tell you, what is terrorism at its core? Terrorism is making someone so afraid that they will do whatever you see. And I hope that's the U.S. government is a terrorist organization. By approving these mandates, you're advocating for terrorism. You have betrayed your country. You have betrayed your neighbors. You have betrayed your home. You have betrayed your and you have betrayed your identity as an American. Our founding fathers lacked government, knowing that their grandchildren have descended into the very tyranny they fought against, and tore apart their Constitution in the name of safety. And God himself scattered seeing his finest creations work over things that only he may and would not judge. Where you go, what you wear, what you say. These are freedoms and rights you are given as one nation under God. The Constitution gave you the First Amendment of freedom of speech, association, connection. Does that matter? To ensure that our fellow men remain in God's light and to stay true to the American way that they crafted and they built our great nation on, and for the salvation of our children and our grandchildren, the future of our generations. I vote and stand here as I was told stand with in my early years. Now, who will stand with me? For our family, for the world, consider your verdict.
Yeah, that's he's gonna do it.
All right, let me just read the public session proclamation here. The Barnegat Township Board of Education appreciates and welcomes public comment, advice, and suggestions, especially when it is intended to assist the Board of Education. Please feel free to speak to the board during the public session. Comments and discussions will be limited to one 5-minute period per individual unless requested by the chairperson to continue on a point of clarification. Public comment of a special meeting of the board shall be related to the call of the meeting. In accordance with Board of Education policy, each participant must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by an announcement of their name, address, and group affiliation if appropriate. Your anticipated courtesy to the members of the public and the board is appreciated. Sorry, I missed that before.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience like to speak? Start with the red hat.
Hello. Thanks for hanging around, guys.
Sir, can you state your name and address for the record?
Yes.
Thanks.
My name is Andrew Gibson. I live in Barnegat. Do you need physical address?
Yes, please.
Yes, 22 Mediterranean Court. I have 2 children, 1 5, 1 2. Both will be going here when this madness ends. I have a letter that I want to address the board with. Handing out a packet, you will find a petition that is designed to hold you accountable for not upholding your oath of office and not acting in the best interest of the children. I'll hand it out after I'm done here. Every public servant is required by law to uphold their oath of office and to have an indemnity bond. The indemnity bond is in place so that if you harm If harm is caused through unlawful actions or policies, we the people are entitled to be compensated through these bonds. This is similar to holding a car insurance and filing a claim when one is injured in a car accident. In this petition, you will find the unlawful violations regarding COVID-19 policies. Unlawful policies have been adopted for those unprecedented mass use of medical and social interventions without regard to physical, emotional, and developmental consequences. Without fully informed consent and in the presence of coercion, such as isolation and restrictions, creating incalculable harm, both mentally and physically, to the ones that you are entrusted to nurture, educate, and protect. There is a remedy listed in this petition. After receiving these grievances, if you restore our children's unalienable protected rights, then no claim will be made to the indemnity fund, and the goal will have been met. If no change is made to restore good health and freedom to our children, then parents will file a claim with the bond carries of every named party by contacting the risk management company that you have provided in our FOIA request. Please choose to take action to protect our children and our nation's future prosperity and freedom for all. I'll hand them out in a minute.
Sir, can you spell your name? I didn't get the.
Gibson, like the guitar.
Gibson, thank you.
Not the anti-Semitic. Okay, I guess still got time?
2.5 minutes.
Perfect. I'm going to read it again. I have a petition here that's designed to hold you accountable for not upholding your oath of office and not acting in the best interest of our children. Every public servant is required by law to uphold their oath of office and to have an indemnity bond. The indemnity bond is in place so that if harm is caused through unlawful actions or policies, we the people are entitled to be compensated through those bonds. This is similar to holding car insurance and filing a claim when one is injured in a car accident. In this petition, you will find the unlawful violations regarding COVID-19 policies. Unlawful policies have been adopted for those unprecedented mass use of medical and social interventions without regard for physical, emotional, and developmental consequences. Without fully informed consent and in the presence of coercion such as isolation and restrictions, creating incalculable harm to mentally and physically to the ones that you are entrusted to nurture, educate, and protect. I'm also going to take this opportunity to let you know next year I hope to be sitting along with one of you. I'll be running in the fall. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody online would like to speak, please use the hand raise function in the Zoom chat. Anybody else in the audience like to speak? Ma'am?
Hi, my name is Shannon Kistner. I'm a Barnegat resident. This is my son, Raiden.
Did you say Schuster?
I'm sorry?
I can barely hear you guys. Did you say Schuster?
Kistner.
Kistner. And your address?
41 Tara Lane.
That's in Barnegat?
Yes.
Thank you.
My son, Raiden, goes to Dumphy preschool. He comes home every day with a soaking wet, disgusting mask. He has particles of lunch still in his mask. He does change it throughout the day, but it's soaking wet. And he's breathing this in. Also, I'm not understanding why, stop. I'm also not understanding why the kids have to wear a mask when they're outside in the heat.
And
There's
it's
been
bad for
several
kids.
kids, that is bad. There's been several instances, the kids have had heat exhaustion, and they're still not allowed to take the mask off. So I'm asking you to consider this mask mandate, and I thank you for your time. Can I say something?
Thank you.
Hello. My name's Erin Pine, P-E-I-N. I live at 7 Cobblestone Drive in Barnegat, New Jersey. I have 3 children in Barnegat. 2 of them are homeschooled right now. They had a really difficult time, not just with the mask, but just in general. I know you guys have been, first of all, I want to applaud you guys because for the time, for the effort, for all of the meetings that you guys have been going to, the time and dedication that you have for our children in this district. A lot of schools are still closed. And so I appreciate you guys. I know that you are trying to keep the kids in school. And I know that, we've been from 2 days to, you have all these different options available, and we are 5 days right now. And I just want to say thank you for that. But I am concerned for the health and safety of the students because of the masks. And I realize that you guys are just following an executive order. I realize that, you feel like you can't do anything about that because of the executive order that Governor Murphy has in place. And I want to address that with you guys now. Also, when you read that letter that you're sending to Governor Murphy, I appreciate that. And thank you so much for, taking a stand and asking him to please make the mask mandate optional. But I want you guys to consider doing that, whether he says yes or no, and to do that right away. And I realize that there will be consequences if we choose to not follow a mandate that has been put in place by Governor Murphy. I realize that there could be costly consequences for our district. And I just want you to know that we are already facing and experiencing consequences because of following this mandate. And there's going to be consequences for any action that we ever take. Everything you do has a consequence. And choosing to follow this mandate, continuing it, and continuing to put these kids in masks for 6 or 7 hours a day is giving us a consequence. Where I'm seeing, I'm a mom, but I'm also a school nurse, as some of you guys know. I have seen a lot of harm from these masks in students. I've seen them, kids are just not wearing them rightly. It's really unrealistic to expect them to be able to. I've seen, adults and medical professionals not wearing them correctly. And the CDC says, they put out a study in 2020 of May, and they said, there was a meta-analysis study, actually is the gold standard for clinical trials. They investigated 10 mask studies, and they said that essential use of face masks, or the correct use of face masks is essential because the incorrect use, improper use, actually increases the spread of influenza-like illnesses. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I see all around, everywhere I go, not just in school, but especially with the kids. They're just not wearing them correctly. And because they're not wearing them correctly, it's causing harm. Even adults will tell you, this is my mask knee, when you have acne on your face because of this mask. And that's because the bacteria is actually very large. It's larger than the viruses. So viruses can still, some of them small, like COVID size, can come through the pores of the mask. But, so that's like throwing sand at a chain link fence. When you do that, you're not catching anything. And that's what's going on with viruses as small as COVID with the mask. But regardless of that, bacteria is very large and they cannot go through the pores of the mask. So instead they get clogged up in it and your mask is cross-contaminated. The correct way to wear a mask includes, a lot of hand hygiene, not touching the outside of the mask. You're never supposed to touch the outside of the mask because the mask is considered dirty on that side. You have to put a mark on the outside so you know which is the inside and what's the outside. And then, you don't flip-flop. You don't put it in your desk. You don't put it in your pocket. You don't put it in your book bag. You don't throw it on the floor. You don't reuse it when it's wet. You don't reuse it when it's dirty. So these are things that I've seen, and I know you guys have seen it, maybe in your own kids, maybe, you know, with yourself even. I know that you probably feel the same way about the masks. Maybe you don't like them. You know, we're all sick of it. We're all going through this together. But I just really, I want to encourage you all to please stand up. Please stop, you know, complying with this order, whether Governor Murphy says we can or cannot. Like I said, there's consequences for our actions. And right now, children are being harmed. I encourage you to pick up the phone tomorrow morning when you wake up and call a local psychologist, a pediatric psychologist, and ask them, when is the next appointment available for your child? They're gonna tell you that there's more than a 3-month wait period right now. And that is not the norm. They will tell you this has been because of COVID. And I'm not saying that's only because of masks, but our children are being harmed psychologically, developmentally, emotionally, physically. I've seen, you know, not just acne, there's been lip sores and canker sores and strep throat. Pneumonia is a possibility, which, by the way, you can die from pneumonia. So there's a lot of consequences for, you know, when masks are used incorrectly, which causes cross-contamination. There's a lot of physical consequences. The psychological things and the developmental, children learn by, you know, experiencing the world around them, especially little kids, little children who are learning social cues and understanding how to respond and see, you know, their friends' faces to know that they're pleased with them, or children who, you know, have special needs and can't hear as well, or speech issues. They need to see their faces. They need to see your lips. They need to understand that their teacher is happy with them.
Fine, can I just interrupt? You went over your time. We're going to give you a little bit more time.
Does anybody want to relinquish time? Okay, so anyway, I just want to encourage you guys to please take a stand, make a decision to not follow this mandate anymore. I realize there are consequences. Please understand that there are already consequences that we're paying, and it is in our children. Please choose to protect the children and to make a hard decision to give up whatever it is that we have to give up to protect them, because that's what's most important. And I appreciate your time. Thank you for letting me go over.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kelly Ford, and the Barnegat address is 102 Vivas Drive. Any other information? Okay. I just want to say a couple words. That was my son who gave that speech. He has spoken at the board meeting before about spotty Wi-Fi. He has run for class president at the end of freshman year. He's been in 2 of the Barnegat plays and at the Brackman plays. And what you just witnessed right there was the result of all the pent-up emotion and frustration of not being able to go to school for the past year, missing his complete junior year. So I asked, because I love everybody here, I love Barnegat, I love the board, I love the superintendent, I love all the people who work at Barnegat High School. And I said, Mark can't wear a mask, he has a health condition, but plus, because of his health condition, like, he needs to be able to see people's faces. So what are we doing here? They said, well, he can wear a face shield, but that is still like the stigma of it. It's not doing it. The face shield wasn't going to work either. And then they said, well, then he can go virtual. And in the back of my mind, I said, but I know the ADA laws have to give free public equal access to education. He's not getting that. So I knew that your hands were tied and that it was just a really difficult situation to be in. So I just sat on my hands and I waited, and I just saw him descend into depression, severe anxiety with both of my kids. So I knew that this was causing harm. Now that the year is over and I don't see Governor Murphy lifting anything, I don't want to sue schools, you know? So I'm going straight to the top. I've read Executive Order 175, and it says that masks are mandatory, but they're not if a child has a health condition. They're not if it's outside in the heat. They're not if they're not required if they're in high intensity aerobic activity. But I still see kids being required to do that, you know, all through that. So I think that the unintended consequence is we can't control what goes on in every classroom. I used to be a teacher and an administrator, and there's a lot of buildings in Barnegat. There's a lot of classrooms. You have some teachers who are going to go way overboard, and you have some teachers who are going to go underboard, and that is what we can't control. So the unintended consequence is it's harming our kids. We've never done a study on the harm of covering kids' faces for 6 months. You know, that psychological harm, think of the first graders, the kindergartners. So I decided to start a class action lawsuit to sue the governor and the Department of Education, because I want to work together with the school and the board. I know that you're just doing what you feel like you have to do. I've read it all. So I appreciate the letter that you're going to write to the governor. If you want to check out, we have a great constitutional attorney, and we have affidavits that we're collecting. We hope to file within the next 2 weeks to get this situation settled by September so that you won't have to deal with anything, and it will be settled by then. If you would like to check out my website, it's freenjkids.com, and you can email me, and I will tell you exactly what the constitutional attorney is saying. The constitutional rights that are being violated, the kids' right to education, the kids' right to communicate, the kids' right to socialize, the constitutional right, it's all First Amendment, to associate, meaning recognize people, see their teacher, learn the speech patterns. They can't see any faces. So it's fascinating, and I don't think that the executive order was thought all the way through. By the way, Executive Order 175 was written March 20th last year. Like, that's why we need to start looking at this. It's been a year. And I don't know why he's not. And I think everybody just recently, when he was lifting the mandates on Friday, but not for kids, I think more and more parents are like, come on, it affects kids the least, but they're the ones that still have to carry all the burden. So anyways, I just want to let you know, if you want anything with that letter to help explain what Governor Murphy is doing, like it's really harming the kids, I think that we can all work together and he will lift this. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Junker?
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. It's William Junker. I'm the president of the Barnegat Education Association. Real quick, I think we're losing a little focus from last night. Last night was actually one of the greatest nights for the year for our staff. We recognize our Superintendent Inspire Awards, we recognize our Staff of the Year, our retirees, and our Hall of Fame members. When you guys leave on your way out, you can see the Barnegat Schools Hall of Fame. The 2 new members that were inducted last night are not up there yet, hopefully really soon. Sue Sellerole and Maggie Aftanis, and I just want to take a second to congratulate them and recognize them in public for the full board and for everyone who's here. So congratulations to those 2 people. The other stuff going on, you know, it really doesn't matter what side you are in the debate. Everyone here, I think they can agree that we've done an amazing job this year in Barnegat as a school community to protect all of our stakeholders. We are in a position where we have to protect everyone, all of our stakeholders here. True story, I've probably tracked so much data, I don't even want to look at data anymore, between our state, our county, our town, our school district, other school districts. I can stand here and tell you that we've seen lower infection rates here in Barnegat than just about every other school district that offered the full in-person instruction that we did. And frankly, for me, I had a hard time putting my head down every night, worrying about possibly losing somebody, having someone pass away here that either comes to Barnegat schools, that works to Barnegat schools. We didn't have that happen. And I can tell you truly that not every district can say that. And again, I'm not going to argue, like, did they get it in the school district? Did they get it when they were out going to Walmart or ShopRite? But no one here lost their life due to COVID or any of the COVID-like things. And I think that's a true testament to everything that we did as a Board of Education, as an administrative team, as a staff, to work hard to protect everybody. Taking other roles, making sure that we were cleaning in between, wearing our masks properly, making sure that the kids were wearing their masks properly, our PPE with our dividers in the classroom, and as much as it's cumbersome in the classroom, we didn't have high infection rates. So maybe that was a difference here in Barnegat. And again, other districts can't say those things. And I really don't think this happened because we were lucky. We continued to be proactive throughout that time. When we had a case in the classroom, we weren't sure, we would quarantine that classroom. We even closed the school building at times to make sure that those spreads didn't get worse and, you know, again, like, interrupt more instruction.
That said, you know, we brought kids in right away. There are districts that are currently, you know, still on hybrid, and their kids, Stafford Township, where I live, they don't see their students. They don't see their students every day. We see our students every day. We did a lot of things here as positive results, and provided really more educational time than any district in Ocean County. And I think that needs to be applauded. And I don't think for a second that that's because we didn't do the right things here in Barnegat all the time. And that's a true story. As of yesterday, and I was talking about my data, and I'll finish this. As of yesterday, we recorded the lowest number since I started recording in November. I wish I would have started doing September and October, but it wasn't really something like, wow, I really got to start following this. This is really important, right? But again, yesterday, we only had 260 cases in New Jersey, 11 in Ocean County, 0 in Barnegat. That was the lowest. We only had 8 reported cases in Barnegat over the last 7 days. And we've only had 7 in our school district in this month so far. That was a dramatic decrease to what we saw in March. I was worried in March. Dr. Latwis knows, Mr. O'Brien knows. I was like, wow, I thought we were going to start walking it back. March was a disaster as far as cases goes. And, you know, things are working. And that said, nevertheless, I hope that we continue to be proactive. We follow the science behind it, and we do the right things here in Barnegat, because time and time again, we've done this year. And that, again, is a true testament to everyone on this team. It's been a team effort from day one when we walked through the door. We don't know what the governor's going to say. He changes left and right. We all know that. We don't know what the CDC is going to say. We know we're probably going to get 4 or 5 other things before we walk through back the door in September. And I know confidently this will be a team effort. And I, once again, thank everybody on the Board of Education. I thank the administrative team. I thank all of our staff members because, you know, knock on wood, 13 and a half days left. And we did a really good job here in Barnegat. And again, like I said, that was a team effort. So I thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Junker, before you go running away real quick, I just wanted to say a couple of things. One, yesterday we did have the 3rd annual Superintendent Inspire Awards, where we honored retirees, Hall of Fame inductees for out there, and staff members of the year. And the BEA every year partners with the administration and picks up the bill for the food, and it contributes a lot to that to that award ceremony. And I think it really means a lot to the staff, both present and past. And, you know, that means a lot to the administration Board of Ed that the BEA partners with us to be able to put together such a nice ceremony for those individuals. With that being said, I also want to jump in there and just say, you know, we appreciate the partnership with the BEA since the beginning. I know going back to last spring, we've had a lot of meetings where yourself and a number of the other BEA leadership were part of it. You guys have helped us craft the 19 different versions of coming back to school. We look forward to continue to partner with you guys going forward. And you know, your support with from your role and you know, partnering with the Board of Education and the administration has not gone unnoticed. So we do appreciate that. So just wanted to give you a quick you know, compliment in that area. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak? Anybody online like to speak? Do not see anybody online, so. Motion to end public session?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry. Okay, our public session is now closed.
Okay. Item number 15, Finance, B&G, HST, Committee Motions, items 1 through 15.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion's carry.
Okay, motion for item number 16, the Athletics Committee motions, 1 through 14. Any comments or questions? Okay. you have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zwicky?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
All right, motion's carry.
Okay, item number 17, Education Committee motions 1 through 5. Any questions or comments? I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zwicky?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
All right, motion's carry.
Item number 18, Education Committee motions for informational purposes only. Number 19, Governance Committee motions, number 1 through 3. Any questions or comments? Okay, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zwicky?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion's carry.
Okay. Agenda item number 20, Personnel Committee motions 1 through 17. Any questions or comments? Okay, have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zwicky?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion's carry.
And item number 22 is annual appointments 1 through 43. Any questions or comments? Okay, have a motion, please?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zwicky?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion's carry.
I'd like to have a motion to move into the second executive session, please.
So moved. Second.
So moved.
All right. Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I skipped Mrs. Cherney. Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zwicky?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
All right, we're in executive session number 2 at 8:52.
putting it on live
Okay.
now. There we go.
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yep,
I have
I
a
think
motion
so.
to adjourn executive session?
Yeah.
Second. Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Constanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
We are out of executive session at 9:25.
Okay. We have a motion to approve new business, the HIB report.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Constanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Okay, and now can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Ms. Bivens?
Yeah.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Constanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes.
Mr. Zawicki?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 9:26.
Thank you.